since tapping into my feminine powers and knowing that there's power in actually doing less in those times where you feel like your body needs the rest, you can be more and show up brighter when you do feel good. And it's just giving yourself permission to feel like that, isn't it? And so I think especially for entrepreneurs, like, I'll be honest, I found it a little bit kind of confronting sharing this with people, because I'm like, oh my God, you can actually have a day off. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me? So it's taken me until now to really trust the power in that, and to give people the permission to have time off if they feel they need to have it.
Totally. It's so important. It's so vital that we do just change that whole story around. And it weaves into so many other things around boundaries, around self-care, around self-worth, around self-love, about putting self first. It weaves into so many other stories. But yeah, I put very clear boundaries now around time off, very clear.
Mm,
And
mm,
again, we don't like to do that because then we feel like we're letting people down. We feel like we're not people, we're a people pleaser. We want to say yes to everybody.
mm.
Now, I even noticed it in myself a few months ago with even friends asking to do things, and noticing that normally I would have said yes because they needed me or they were having it was a beautiful realization that I got to the place where I could say no and mean no and be okay with that.
Mm, yeah. And so, how does it affect women who maybe are on the menopause, who don't actually bleed? Does it still have the same impact on their body?
So I find a lot of women tend to come to lunar cycles when they reach menopause. I've got a very, very dear friend who always used to like tongue in cheek laugh at me with the moon stuff. And she was another yoga teacher. And so she got a lot of the spiritual sides, but the moon stuff, she's like, oh, here she is again, talking about the moon again. Here we go. And then she sadly had to have a hysterectomy at quite a young age. And from then, she suddenly started being like, Kirsty, I get it. I get it. I get it. Because she like lost her own cycle, she then found this cycle in the moon. And so the moon then started to become her cycle. And so I speak to menopausal women about that a lot, about if you don't have a cycle of your own, you do still have a cycle. You have the lunar cycle. You do
Mm,
still have it. So begin to follow that, and you will begin to notice that sync up with how you're feeling.
mm. So, could you explain a little bit about the cycles and kind of, the ovulation is like the peak time, and kind of what to do maybe in the different points?
Yeah, so there's 8 official phases of the lunar cycle. I advise people, so people tend to get, again, they want to do lunar cycles like they want to do business or do work and get it right. And like we can't. Like a lot of the girls who join my online membership, my Lunar Living membership, are always like, well, what am I meant to be doing in this space? And I was like, but this is the point. We're not like, slow down. So I'll talk you through the main 8. But then what I advise people to do is when you first start, just work with new and full moon and then add the quarter moons in. Even I don't work with all 8 phases. I did in the beginning to know what they were, but even I don't anymore unless I'm feeling a certain way. And then I might check in and be like, oh, okay, we're in this phase. I'm nudging up against this. I'm resisting this. This is why. So I always begin with the dark moon phase. The dark moon, every phase lasts about 3 to 4 days. The energy of that is good for about 3 to 4 days. So we get the dark moon that happens about 3 to 4 days before the new moon. And that's what we're in at the moment. We're in now until the moon goes new. I mean, I don't know when this is coming out, but we've got a new moon tomorrow as we're now speaking. So this is the lowest energetic and emotional part of the lunar cycle. It's where, as the moon is disappearing from the sky, she'll pull our energy all the way inwards. And so some are likely to feel the most emotional. It's when our job tends to irritate us, when our other half tends to irritate us, when family members start to push up against us, when everything in the world just starts to perhaps upset us, irritate us. And this phase of the lunar cycle is so important because it shows you what you don't want in order so that you know what you do want. So in the dark moon, it's very important to pause, to rest, to check in. What am I feeling emotional about? What is this showing me? Where are these emotions being directed to? The new moon is the moment where the sun and the moon meet each other in the sky. And so on a new moon, we take what the dark moon showed us, what we felt emotional about, and we go, okay, that's what I don't want. So what do I want? So the new moon is where we set our intentions. We say, this is what I want to create over the next lunar cycle or the next 3 or 4 lunar cycles if it's a slightly bigger goal or dream we want to go for. So on a new moon, we set our intentions and we get very, very clear on what it is that we want. The waxing crescent moon comes a few days later. The waxing crescent is where we see that first little sliver of the moon in the sky. And this is now the part of the lunar cycle where we go, okay, what do I need to get what I want? Let me start to gather my resources. Where are my people at? What resources do I need? What information do I need? Where do I need to be looking? What plan needs to be put into place? It's the doing part of the lunar cycle. We start to do. We go, okay, what do I need to do now to make these new moon intentions happen? Exactly halfway between the new and full moon, we get what's called the first quarter moon. So it's when you look up in the sky, you'll see exactly half the moon lit. The first quarter moon is the moment where everything starts to come together. And so it's the moment where, just as the moon is beginning to shine, we want to put ourselves out in the world. We want to say yes to everything. Synchronicities will happen. Things will start to like move and shift. And we'll be like, whoa, I was just thinking about that. And here it is. So this is the say yes, be seen, shine, go out there into the world phase of the lunar cycle, where we do everything that we can to make our new moon intentions come true and come to life. A couple of days later, we get the waxing gibbous part of the lunar cycle. This is where you'll look up and you won't be quite sure if the moon is full or not. It's like almost there. And this is where most people don't sleep, because the moon now, it's like a last big lunar push of energy, where the moon is going, hey, listen, a couple of weeks ago, you set these intentions. You've got a couple of days left. Make them happen. What do you need to do? What can you push? How can you go out there a bit more? What needs finishing off? How can you give all of this a really big push? So we don't sleep normally because the energy has been heightened, and it's like, hey, you've not got time to sleep. Like, come on, come on, come on, come on. And then we get the full moon. So the full moon does one of two things. The full moon, first of all, is a celebration of what we've achieved. So we look back and we go, wow, I made that happen. I did that, put that out there. Brilliant. And then the full moon illuminates our lives and shows us where we got to. And quite often what we find is we wanted to go over here and we ended up over here because we doubted ourselves, or we didn't say yes when we were meant to. We got a bit scared and went, oh, not sure, don't know. Or we let other people dictate to us. Oh, are you sure you can do that? Oh, really? Is that a good idea? Or we let other people's opinions matter more than our own, and all of these ways in which we sabotage ourselves. So the full moon then shines the light and we get to go like, oh, yeah, I didn't say yes to that thing, so I got a bit scared too. And yeah, I didn't go to that thing because I was worried that people might not like me if I went. And I didn't really go after that because I just was worried what they might say. And we get to really have this illuminating moment. And from this, we get to go, okay, so what stands in the way and what do I need to let go of? And then as the moon then begins to wane and get smaller in the sky every night, this is the releasing part of the lunar cycle. So we first get the waning gibbous moon, which is where we reflect on the month gone by and go, okay, on reflection, what stood in the way? I need to now get clear on what I need to do to let those things go. A couple of days later, we get the last quarter moon, and this is the final big release point of the cycle now, where we start to release doubts, fears, sabotages, people, jobs, situations, anything that stood in our way. We get to release these things. And then we come back down again to the dark moon, where the dark moon again begins to show us where we are emotionally, so that then we can start again through the cycle.
She does a lot, doesn't she?
A lot.
She's busy up there.
A lot. But this is how we should be living.
Yeah. Hence Lunar Living. By the way, guys, you need to go and get the book, because oh my gosh, all of this information is just so needed in the world. Wow. And how have you seen this information now used in business or the world as it is today? Because I know certainly when I'm releasing a new program or something that, you know, is really important to me, I'll go, right, where's the moon at? You know, I strategize around that.
Yeah. I think it's a lot easier at the moment in kind of entrepreneurs and self-employed people to be able to manage workloads around things like this. And it's amazing to see it being used in that way. I feel like business has got a little way to catch up, but I also do feel it is coming. I have to believe in that. Like, anyone that works for me, gladly take a dark moon day off. Gladly come to me, be like, Kirsty, it's a dark moon. And I'd be like, cool, let's both have a day off.